Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at, well, an extraordinary journey, really tracing the story of Narendra Modi.
Mhm.
From, very modest beginnings, he rose to become this major global voice, the face of the world's largest democracy.
Yeah, it's quite an arc.
It really is, and it's a path that's been, well, both widely celebrated and frankly fiercely criticized,
Mhm.
but his impact, undeniably profound, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And our mission here for this deep dive is really to unpack the material you've given us. We want to pull out the most important insights from all these diverse sources
Right.
to help you, the listener, really get a handle on Modi's complex impact, his legacy, and sort of navigate the tricky parts of his story.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. His origins. Narendra Damodar Modi, born September 17th, 1950, Vadnagar, Gujarat.
Yeah, a small town.
And the sources really emphasize this humble background, the detail about him helping his father sell tea at a railway station. It's pretty striking, isn't it? Quite a starting point.
It really is. And what's fascinating is how those early days, that modest upbringing, seem to have, really shaped him.
How so?
Well, he's described as intensely curious, very driven, and interestingly, deeply spiritual even back then. He apparently went on this journey of self-discovery across India.
Right, I read about that, the Himalayas, ashrams.
Exactly. And those formative years seem to have instilled this strong sense of discipline, a kind of early nationalism, and maybe most importantly, forged this deep connection to the RSS.
The Rashtriya Swayamsevak song.
That connection is key.
And maybe for listeners less familiar, the RSS isn't just any organization, right? It's a really foundational influence for him.
Oh, absolutely. It's a Hindu nationalist volunteer group known for its ideology of Hindutva, basically cultural nationalism.
Okay.
It really champions Hindu values, cultural identity, and it profoundly shaped Modi's political thinking. And later, the BJP's agenda, too. That early time with the RSS really laid the groundwork, ideologically speaking, for his whole career.
So from that sort of spiritual and ideological path, he then makes the formal jump into politics. Joins the Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, early 80s?
That's right, early 1980s.
Yeah.
And apparently he got noticed pretty quickly for his organizational skills.
But the real turning point, from what I gather, was becoming chief minister of Gujarat. That seems pivotal.
Definitely. That happened in 2001. It was right after that massive, devastating earthquake in Gujarat. He was appointed chief minister.
And his focus then?
Very much on economic development, industrial growth. And, Gujarat did see rapid infrastructure expansion under him, the famous Gujarat model.
Ah, yes, the Gujarat model.
And this is absolutely crucial context. His time as chief minister was also deeply, deeply marred by the 2002 Gujarat riots.
Right.
A really dark chapter. It still raises profound questions, sparks intense debate even today about, his government's response and the long-term impact on communal relations there.
And those controversies, significant as they were, didn't stop his rise nationally. In fact, for some, maybe that decisive image, even amidst controversy, was part of the appeal later.
It's possible. His 2014 campaign for prime minister certainly built on that image of strong leadership. And that slogan, Astedin an Walhain.
Good days are coming.
Good day.
Very powerful. How did that resonate so widely?
Well, that mixed development, a strong sense of national identity, decisive leadership, it just struck a chord, especially with young people, the growing middle class. They were eager for change.
And it led to a huge win.
Truly historic. Became India's 14th prime minister. And what's notable, besides the landslide, is he was the first PM born after India's independence.
Ah, interesting.
And the first from such a modest, non-dynastic background. That itself represented a pretty big shift, generationally and sociopolitically, in Indian leadership.
Okay, so once in power, his leadership style seems defined by these bold, often quite controversial decisions.
Yeah.
Let's dig into some of these. First up, demonetization in 2016. This huge surprise move, banning the big 0500 and 1000 notes literally overnight. The goal was tackling black money, right?
Yes, that was the stated goal, yes. Curbing illicit wealth, undeclared funds outside the formal economy, and also counterfeit currency.
The fact.
Well, what's insightful about it isn't just the sheer scale or suddenness.
Yeah.
It really shows Modi's willingness to push through these high-risk top-down reforms.
Yeah.
Valuing, it seems, immediate disruption for what we're seeing as potential long-term gains. It's a pattern, really. It caused massive economic disruption, chaos even. But supporters called it bold, necessary for formalizing the economy.
Beyond demonetization, another huge economic shakeup was the GST, the goods and services tax. Can you break that down a bit?
Sure. GST was this massive tax overhaul The idea was to streamline India's incredibly complex tax system.
Right.
Get rid of all these different state and central taxes.
Right, replace them with one single tax.
Exactly. A unified goods and services tax across the whole country. The aim: create a single national market, cut complexity, boost efficiency, big ambitions. And alongside these big economic moves, his government also launched these broader social programs.
Like Swachh Bharat, Clean India.
Precisely. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, focused on sanitation, building millions of toilets. But what's interesting there, the sources suggest, is that success wasn't just about building things. It was also heavily reliant on changing deep-seated habits, behaviors. That's often the harder part.
Makes sense. And Digital India.
Yeah, another big one. Aimed at transforming India into, well, a digitally empowered society, a knowledge economy. Huge goal there, too. Bridge the digital divide, get more people connected.
Now, of course, any leader making such big changes faces pushback, challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic really highlighted contrasting views of his leadership, didn't it?
It certainly did.
Those initial lockdowns, they were praised by some internationally, I remember.
Yes, initially. But that praise kind of evaporated during the devastating second wave in 2021.
Yes.
That period exposed really severe unpreparedness, critical shortages, especially oxygen. It led to overwhelming criticism and cast a long shadow over his government's crisis management.
And then there's the cultural and religious dimension. Critics consistently argue his government has pushed a Hindu nationalist agenda, sidelining minorities in the process.
Yes, that's a major point of contention highlighted in the material, and it raises these really important ongoing questions about governance, secularism, inclusivity in a country as diverse as India.
Then you have the abrogation of Article 370 in Kashmir. Historic, yes, but incredibly controversial.
Hugely controversial. This decision basically revoked Kashmir's special autonomous status.
The status it had since independence.
Exactly. It granted unique legislative powers. Removing it fundamentally changed Kashmir's relationship with the Indian Union, and it sparked, and continues to spark, significant debate about regional autonomy, national integration, human rights, a very complex issue.
And finally, the farmer protests, 2020-2021. Those farm laws he introduced were widely seen as pro-corporate.
They were. And they triggered massive, sustained protests across the country. Huge demonstrations.
And what happened with those laws?
Well, what's notable is that despite the government initially digging in its heels, the laws were eventually repealed, primarily due to that immense public pressure. It really highlighted the power of dissent, didn't it? And the government's sort of ultimate response to it.
Okay, let's shift focus slightly, because love him or oppose him, you really can't ignore how Narendra Modi has reshaped India's image on the world stage.
That's undeniable.
You see him giving speeches at the UN, these massive rallies with the Indian diaspora in the US, the UK, Australia. He definitely commands international attention.
He does. And his engagement with world leaders, Obama, Trump, Putin, Xi Jinping, it shows this focus on, let's call it assertive diplomacy, strategic positioning.
Trying to elevate India's standing.
Exactly. Positioning India as a key player in this, multipolar world. There's a clear intent there to boost India's global influence.
But, as the sources are careful to note, he's not without significant criticism on that global stage either.
No, certainly not.
Concerns about press freedom keep coming up, rising religious tensions get international attention, allegations of authoritarian tendencies.
And crackdowns on dissent, on NGOs. These are frequently raised concerns, absolutely.
Yet, despite all that criticism, domestically and internationally,
he remains incredibly popular, one of the most popular leaders in Indian history, actually. He won re-election in 2019 with an even bigger mandate than 2014.
Which points to his connection with voters.
It really does. The sources talk about this almost unmatched ability he has to connect with ordinary citizens. Through his speeches, his use of technology, social media, symbolism. It's very effective.
So the takeaway seems to be...
Well, the sources really underscore this point. Whether you see him as this transformative reformer pushing India forward or as a polarizing nationalist figure, his impact on India is just undeniable. You can't argue with that.
It's been quite a journey to map out in this deep dive, from, helping his father on a railway platform to commanding the global stage. Narendra Modi's story is really a testament to ambition, discipline, and, let's face it, political mastery.
It truly is. And his story, as you know, is far from over. how history ultimately judges him. Well, it's going to depend not just on the huge changes he made, but on how India itself navigates this period, how it reconciles this drive for economic ambition with the social frictions that have also emerged, both under his leadership and, well, beyond it.
A powerful thought to end on.
It is something to consider, and we hope this dive helps you keep exploring, stay curious about these complex figures and moments in history.